Do any of these words stand out to you, and can you relate? I am worn out. I'm afraid. I'm a mess. I'm unworthy. I struggle with my thoughts about myself. I fear my life being meaningless. I'm undisciplined in my walk, and I don't know what to do about it. I don't have time. I worry too much. I pray too little. I'm hesitant. I don't think I can. I'm just ordinary. I don't have a Bible degree. I'm broken. I make mistakes. I am flawed, imperfect, and damaged. I'm a pretender. I have to, or someone might know who I am. I have too many pounds on my thighs. That might seem really funny, but while people are dying in other countries for standing up for Christ, we render ourselves completely useless because we've gained 15 pounds. Well, I just look bad. I have dishes in my sink, unmade beds, and clothes on my floor. I can't even run my family correctly. I yell at my kids. I argue with my husband. I'm a failure. I am no example. I am selfish. I'm materialistic. I'm vain. I don't think I can get rid of it. My life, my stuff, my American dream means more to me than that. I'm just not perfect. I'm just not capable. And I get it. I truly get it. My story is I grew up in an adoptive family from an infant. My dad was both physically and mentally abusive all of our lives. My brother and I spent more time in our bathroom with the door pulled out, blocking the door from opening. That was our life. My dad, after I was married, I got a phone call from my brother. I didn't have any real connection with them. And my dad had stuck a gun in his mouth and killed himself out in my brother's barn. Tragic. I searched for love in teenage boys, just trying to find the love of a dad. Made a lot of bad mistakes. Then I got married at 19 to a guy that his family was a great Christian family. And they took me in, and because I was saved at 11, I had that desire to be a good person, and it slowly happened, and things are not perfect by any means, let me tell you. I'm still a mess, but how does that happen? How do I go from this messed up person to where I am now? What got me here? I stopped pretending. What I began to learn is the day we stop pretending we have it all together and get real, God then reveals who He is and what He can do with our weakness. As long as we're pretending to be churchy, yet we're doing absolutely nothing for Christ, we will be dull and truly never sparkle for Him. What if we figured this all out before insecurities ruin us? Before we hit rock bottom? Before antidepressants are needed? They're needed in some cases, but there's a heck of a lot of people taking medicine just to check out. Before our kids made the worst mistakes of their lives, and we were like, where did that come from? Because we're so out of it. Before we render ourselves completely useless for the kingdom and figure out we did nothing for Him. We're on our deathbed at 80 years old, and we're like, well, I have nothing to give Him. I didn't do a stinking thing. What if? We have to get over excuses that we're worthless, that we don't have a Bible degree, that God can't use us. We also have to get over the pew sitting and us saying, saved, I'm safe. I'm good. I can just live for self. I know I'm going to get into heaven. The Bible speaks very clearly on this. Again, He told us to die to self and pick up our cross and follow Him. Salvation is so much more than being saved. It's dying to self. Our pastor at our ministry got saved in a prison cell just reading his Bible. And he came out looking for the church like that was in Acts. And he's like, it doesn't exist. He was so saddened because he'd never seen a church in his life. And he was like, it's nowhere. He said, everyone's playing games. No one gets what it means to die to yourself. He came out and was like, I'm going to be a preacher. I mean, life changed completely. He wants to use us. He gave us all talents. Our pastor was just preaching about this. You know, some He gives one because that's all that a person can handle. If they had more, they would be overwhelmed. Some He gives 5 to because they'd be bored with one. He gives us what we need, but He never doesn't give us one. What do you guys have? me share these verses about talents. Matthew 25. Matthew 25:14. Matthew 25:14. You guys are turning to it. Matthew 25:14 through 18 says, "Again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and to another 1 bag, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who had received 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 bags more. So also the one with 2 bags of gold gained 2 more. But the man who had received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. He gave to them, not ever wanting the talents wasted or hidden. He blessed those who actually used their talents. He gave them more to do, more abilities." Here's another way to look at it. Down deep in the South, there's a plantation back in the slave days. Huge plantation. The master is a fair master. He still disciplines, but he loves the people who works for him. He decided to go on a journey, and he told his slaves, harvest the field, plant the seed, hoe, plow, do the job, and when you get back, I'll reward you. And he took off down the lane. You had this about 10% that went right to work. They put the wet cloth around their neck because it was so hot. Such a hot day, and it was like blistering hot. But they went out and they started hoeing. They started plowing. They started throwing the seed. They started doing the job that the master asked. You had this whole, like, 90% of the rest of the slaves that was like, he's not here. And it's hot. Like, it's really, really hot. You know, there's this huge oak tree over here, and the pail's over here, and the ladle's there, and I think I'm just going to go over and have a drink. And, you know, I learned the songs to sing to the master, and maybe if I sing them loud enough that the people in the field, that'll encourage them. So I'm going to sit underneath the tree, and I'm going to sing, and I'm going to read the words that the master wrote, and I'm going to watch the people over here working. And I'll cheer them on, but it's hot. I don't want to do that. And then down the lane a few months later, with all the magnolia trees, comes the master. And he pulls up and he says, so show me what you did for me. And this whole group has nothing to give to the master. That's what it looks like whenever we hide our talents and we don't serve him. He wants to shine through us. He wants to use us, but we have to be willing to be shaped into the diamonds that sparkle. What does that take? I don't know that I'm willing to be shaped. Sounds like it hurts. First is acknowledging that you need to be shaped. If you've never acted on your ministry, on truly serving and reaching, it starts with acknowledging that you need to be shaped. If there is no desire, then you might have just said a salvation prayer and not really, truly accepted Christ, because you should have a desire to serve him. There should be that desire in your heart, and if it's not there, you might talk to someone this weekend. Because it comes from the heart. It's a full decision to die to Christ. And if you don't feel that way, then there's probably an issue. Then you begin the process of being brought to the surface and then being molded and shaped to sparkle. And I'm going to take you through this process. I don't like science, but I studied it the last few weeks. And I actually kind of enjoyed it. So there's some amazing information about diamonds. I'm going to read this to you. Coal and diamonds are made up of the same thing. It's difficult to believe that any relation exists between the dark brownish black lumps of coal and shimmering diamonds. The common element between the two is that they are both made up of carbon. Coal and diamonds are made up of carbon. However, the arrangement of carbon atoms gives them an entirely different look. Coal is like flat sheets of carbon atoms stacked one on another. The flat sheets can absorb light of different wavelengths and hence the black color. The pyramid-like structure found in diamonds lacks this ability and is transparent and sparkling. Diamonds are formed deep inside the earth where the temperature and pressure are very high. They are transported to the surface of the earth by the molten magma of volcanic eruption. They're shot up. It is a common fact that natural diamonds are mined from the earth. However, today we have synthetic diamonds made through artificial methods as well, which I'm going to talk about tomorrow. So let's look at how diamonds are formed. First, diamonds are formed under very high temperature and pressure. With coal, there's not that high of a temperature and pressure, which leaves the coal dark and dull. If we as Christians never have the heat and pressure put on us, then we're not going to be able to shine for Him. That's just part of the process of once we find Him and we follow Him, with that comes heat and pressure. I never got that until we went and adopted, and until we ended up at our ministry. And I get it now. I see what comes with that. Complete change. Complete change. I want to read a portion of Scripture to you, 2 Corinthians 4. 2 Corinthians 4, 8 through 12. We are hard-pressed on every side but not crushed, perplexed but not in despair, persecuted but not abandoned, struck down but not destroyed. We always carry around in our body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be revealed in our body. For we who are alive are always being given over to death for Jesus' sake, so that His life may also be revealed in our mortal body. So then death is at work in us, but life is at work in you. We will have pressures put on us as Christians if we're serving Him. Second, these diamonds that lie in the earth's mantle come out to the surface through volcanic eruptions that are deep in origin. We will develop and shine brightly because of being deep in origin. Romans 11:33 says, "Oh, the depths and the riches both of the wisdom and knowledge of God. How unsearchable are His judgments and unfathomable is His ways." Guys, it's deep, it's rich. It's so deep in origin, so deep in our souls, and so rich.